place for a waxwork. Maybe they don't like customers.
I'm sorry, ladies. Did I startle you?
Heart attack, maybe. Startle, no.
I see you're interested in my waxworks. Yes?
Well...
Yeah. In fact, we were just saying, it's kind of a weird place to have one. I mean, on a street like this.
Really? Why?
The customers and we gotta get back to class.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Mr.
Mister?
Come on, Turner.
I'm having a private showing tonight. At midnight.
Good time. After dinner, but before breakfast.
You can bring some friends, of course. No more than 6, though. Otherwise, I'm afraid we might be a bit full.
Oh, you're expecting a crowd.
Like I said, no more than 6. See you at midnight, then.
Ooh, scary.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions. Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I am your host, Jason Bishop, and with me today, as always, is Sam Stepanenko.
I'm not the real Sam. I'm fake. I'm so fake.
You're a little glossy right now.
I am very glossy right now.
Yeah.
A little waxy, you might say.
Let's see.
Yeah, the Q-tip thing from your ears, it's out of control right now. Just invest in some Q-tips.
Sure.
Trish Cochran coming in from Planet Vulcan.
Yeah, wax on, wax off. Different movie.
That's right. We're getting back in the groove from last week's Campfire Stories. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
I certainly did.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Something a little different to put together.
But it's still remaking.
Still remaking, kinda, sorta. It's on brand for us, so let us know if you really liked our Halloween special. Maybe we'll do something like that again someday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This week we're going to be talking about Waxwork from 1988 by writer-director Anthony Hickox. I'd seen this one actually not that long ago. This was one that the box art always kind of intrigued me when we were back in the video store days.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. Like, I remember seeing it. I didn't remember it as well as I thought I did, but I really enjoyed it.
I enjoy the concept of it. I feel like the choices they made felt dated even for 88,
yes.
But I guess that's also the kind of the same shtick they were going for with Monster Squad, which I think came out the same year.
Yeah.
Or roughly around the same time.
Yeah, just playing with those sort of old, sort of standard monsters, except for the Marquis de Sade, which was really weird.
Yeah, he didn't really fit in with all of the other
but he fits in with what
features.
I'd rather do with it.
Yeah, he's actually maybe the only one I actually want to keep.
Yeah, ditto.
Because I thought it was the most interesting.
Well, that, and they're talking about bringing back the most evil people in the world, and then they're bringing back vampires and werewolves and zombies, and it didn't make sense.
No. And, thinking about Waxwork, I remember going to a wax museum when I was a kid. First time I'd ever been to one. And I think this was in Victoria, BC on the island. I don't remember what I first saw, but I remember the back part being terrifying because it was just a bunch of torture scenes. From medieval torture stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I was scared. I was so young for that stuff. I'm like, I shouldn't be seeing the people being beheaded, and like it was awful.
Oh.
And, like nobody warned us. I mean, I won't say it was awful. I mean, it looked too good, and for a small child that I was, it
wasn't age appropriate.
No. It was far too graphic for me. Now, if I go back and see it now, I'd be like, fucking awesome, man.
Yeah. Or, wow, that's really cheap looking.
Maybe, yeah. But I totally bought into it as a kid. And if I would have walked into the Waxwork Museum from the movie as a kid, I would have been like, oh, that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have scared me because, I mean, a lot of that Universal monster stuff, the movie monsters that they chose, aren't scary to me because I know they're movies.
Yes, exactly. And they were cool, and I think they just wanted to really lean into the monster thing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And it probably would play really well right now with the trend of throwing nostalgia at us. Now, nostalgia for Universal Monsters stuff, maybe not so much, but 80s nostalgia, 90s nostalgia, you start doing like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, the guy from Scream, Ghostface, all these guys that people are nostalgic for horror, that'd be kind of cool.
Never going to happen.
Probably not because of the licensing issues,
exactly.
But this is our remake. We do whatever we want. So the way I'm kind of leaning towards two options here. We can play towards the cheap nostalgia, which seems to be hot right now and annoys the fuck out of me. Or we could play to some of the more real life horrors.
Well, I was thinking, especially with all of the true crime being so popular, if you lean into some of the more famous true crime villains, right, like Ed Gein and Ted Bundy,
H.H. Holmes,
like all these, even some class like Jack the Ripper, right, like really lean into that. I think it'd be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper technically was in this movie as one of the displays. Yes, one of the few that actually worked that was a real person as well as the Marquis de Sade.
But I just have one question before we dig in, and it just occurred to me when you're talking about, like, if you went into this place as a kid, Jason, can you imagine the awkward conversation you'd have with your parents about who the Marquis de Sade was?
I didn't know. I wouldn't have known.
Mom?
I wouldn't have known anything about sex at this point in my life, let alone like the hardcore BDSM.
Yep. Well, son.
Yeah, that would have been a troubling conversation.
Yes. Sorry. I know that's an aside, but I was like, I had to address it.
Yeah. So we could lean towards like the torture wax museum that I saw when I was a kid that really scared me. Or we could do the retro Madame Tussauds version of it all. I mean, both could be good. We could technically do both ideas as wings in a museum, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had an idea too where it was you have the one very sexually liberated character, and I was like, what would happen if she ended up in the Salem witch trial?
Yeah, which is interesting because a witch was one of the displays. We just only really see her during the cheap rumble at the end.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cheap because they ran out of money. So they didn't get to do the ending they want. Which, hey, filmmaker tip, always film your ending early.
Yes.
So you always have it. And schedule it early so you never run out of money for your ending.
Because that's the most important part.
Yeah. Cut the drama if you have to, but don't cut your ending.
Yeah, you can work around the rest of it. Well, honestly,
it was a monster bar fight.
You don't even need to cut the drama because you can make them quiet moments, which isn't as expensive as big effects.
Yeah, exactly. Good filmmaker tip right there. Always film your ending first.
This filmmaker tip brought to you by Invasion of the Remake.
Now, I want to do a little game here, see how many you guys can get right. There are 18 displays. Start naming them. Let's see how many we can name. I mean, I got them in front of me.
The Invisible Man.
Okay, that's one. We'll cross off the witch because I already mentioned the witch. And Marquis de Sade we've mentioned, so that's 3.
Marquis de Sade
and Dracula,
Jack the Ripper.
4, 5.
Zombies.
6.
The werewolf.
7.
Yeah. Oh God, what else? The ancient Egyptian tomb.
Mummy.
Mummy, yeah.
Did we count the mummy already?
No.
Okay, that's 8.
No.
I wasn't paying that much attention to the displays, if you want me to straight.
Some year are blinking, you miss it.
The funny thing is, they wandered around quite a bit. There's that scene where they first go in, and they wander around a lot, but I didn't really pay attention to the
give me
scenes.
at least one more so we can get halfway.
Oh, there was that guy. He was at the bottom of the stairs, but I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Well, that doesn't count guy at the bottom of the stairs. I need to know what he is.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like it was somebody has an axe and he's at the bottom.
Okay, I will accept axe murderer.
Okay, thank you.
So that's 9. That's halfway. The full displays here are Count Dracula, the Phantom of the Opera, a witch, Marquis de Sade, werewolf, mummy, a voodoo priest, zombies, of course. They call it the urban legend killer or the axe murderer, which I do believe replaces Jason Voorhees, who was supposed to be one of the displays. But rights issues.
Yeah.
Also, that would have been the display when you're watching the movie, he's looking at the Phantom of the Opera and says something about, I watched the movie.
Good evening. I own this Waxworks.
Look, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to. I was just following a friend in here for some laughs, I'll be leaving.
Well, that's all right. What's the point of having all these beautiful works of art if you can't appreciate them? This, for instance. Isn't the figure wonderful?
Is it the actual mask?
As worn by the Phantom.
In the movie Curse of the Opera?
They made a movie about the Phantom of the Opera.
Several.
Would you like a closer look?
Really?
Step in, please. They'll make a movie about anything nowadays.
Technically, that comment was for Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th, and then you get David Warner saying they'll make anything into a movie. They made a movie about him?
Which was great. It was one of my favorite moments in the film, actually.
It would have been funnier if it actually had been Jason.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts him back as a real killer, right? On to number 10 here, Invisible Man, Frankenstein's Monster, Invasions of the Body Snatchers Pods, which we actually get a little bonus bit there too, when the pod during the Rumble fight kind of chews up somebody.
Yes.
It says, "Feed me," which is a reference to what?
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors.
That's right. Then we have a demonic baby from It's Alive from 1974.
I remember that. Now that you mentioned it, yes.
Yeah. There's an alien creature of some sort. 15, a Cobra Man, otherwise known as a circus freak. Jack the Ripper, Mr. Hyde, and a golem.
Oh.
Yeah, some of those I probably wouldn't have picked as exactly what they were even watching.
No, I definitely would have needed a list. But displays that were left out due to legal reasons. Jason Voorhees already mentioned. The Thing, which probably was replaced by Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Mm-hmm. And the 5 Kids from Village of the Damned.
That would have been cool, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really leaned into the movie horror, which, like I said earlier, undoes what they say in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are not real villains.
No, I mean, I will accept your Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
I will accept the Marquis de Sade.
Axe murderer.
Axe murderer, okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty vague.
Yeah. Yeah. Generic murderer, number 1.
Right? I wish we would have had some time to go into, like, famous murderers throughout history.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 that you could...
We got that guy who was Berkowitz? Was he the clown guy?
No, Berkowitz was Son of Sam.
Son of Sam. That was Son of Sam.
Gain was the clown guy.
Right.
No, Gacy was the clown guy.
Sorry, yeah.
Gain was the skinning and skin lampshades.
Yeah. So we've already come up with 3 famous...
Yeah, H.H. Holmes really interesting to me. That would make quite the setting.
Yeah.
I want to do that. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I want to do that.
Oh, yeah, because that's our Saw setup, right? Yeah. Like, that's the traps.
Yeah. And then you look at Gacy's home with the buried bodies and Gain with his skin furniture. Those would make some pretty disconcerting displays.
Right?
Especially on film, because you could have so much fun with that.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's one, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a Russian cannibal, and he like killed and ate like 50 kids.
Okay. Yeah. Now my skin is crawling. No, my skin's crawling. That's good. That's what we want, right?
Yep.
So I think we're going dark.
I think so.
Yeah, but with moments of lightness, because I do have another idea that I kind of wanted, because I thought it was funny. The one guy, he's always kind of smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, for some reason, like, what if he ended up in a film noir set and every time he tried to put out a cigarette, a new one just appears and he can't stop smoking?
Well, I like the idea of it being a bigger wax museum. So,
yes.
I mean, the horror genre stuff is going to be where the primary stuff is. But, you know, a film noir setup along with maybe some other film stuff, like Madame Tussauds is huge.
It is massive.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so if we go with that big, intricate setups of actors and history characters, I mean, we can basically have our horror version of Night at the Museum and actually utilize some of the movie guys.
Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest. That's a great monster.
No peeking ahead at 31 Days of Horror.
No, hangers.
All right, well, I'm going to take a quick break here to run the trailer for Waxwork. We'll be right back.
It's 11:45. Let's go.
Imagine, if you will, an exhibit in fear.
It looks a little spooky, boys. You think we should do this?
A place that appeals to your deepest and darkest fantasies.
Ooh, scary.
Your fascination with ghosts, monsters, and the many unearthly elements of the supernatural.
Welcome to the Waxwork.
Look.
Now this is killer.
Enjoy.
Wow, the glasses from Nutty Zombies from Hell.
Lose yourself in it.
Would you like a closer look?
Really?
But whatever you do, don't step over the rope.
Welcome, my dear. We thought you were too tired to join us.
All right, I'm hypnotized.
Hey, not so fast.
Relax. Put on a cup of coffee. We'll talk about it.
I want out of here, Sarah. I'm serious.
Getting scared?
Do I get a pretty woman in my illusion? No. No, I get a dork.
It isn't real.
Bravo!
What the hell did you kill him for? He'd have been perfect.
Live, my children. Live.
Hit me! We still need 2 more!
Vestron Pictures welcomes you into a new dimension in terror. Waxwork.
That was the trailer for Waxwork from 1988, written and directed by Anthony Hickox. And this stars Zach Galligan as Mark, most famous for being in Gremlins.
And not much else. He's got a big resume of garbage.
It's true. It really is.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was a few cheeseburgers in on this one.
Oh, you noticed it too?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as it wasn't just me.
See, I didn't mind it. I didn't think he looked too bad because I didn't want him to be like a young kid, but I could see him trying to get away from the good guy role because he was playing an ass.
He
did a good job of it. I will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say maybe he was an ass because his girlfriend. Oh my God. The fact that she wound up in the Dracula display and not the Marquis de Sade display, because I think that's where she wanted to be. Yeah. I think she really wanted that.
Well, she wasn't his girlfriend. They'd broken up.
Yeah, that's
They'd gone on a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A date.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a psycho. There's no relationship.
Stalker.
He is.
Yeah, I don't even know if that was a necessary subtext or subplot within the movie.
Oh, these characters have no development whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than our virginal Deborah Foreman. Yeah, I kind of like the little bits they gave us there, and maybe that's something we can play with a little bit. But Deborah Foreman plays Sarah. We've talked about her a few times now. Episode 82.
82. April Fool's Day.
Episode 180.
Real Genius.
Real Genius.
And 376 recently.
Come on, Trish. I know you know this one.
Oh, God, I don't.
Valley Girl.
Oh, yes. Rick, what's wrong with me?
I don't know.
I'm ashamed.
Like, gag me with a spoon, eh?
Like, totally.
My Canadian Valley girl, gag me with a spoon, eh?
Like, gag me with a spoon, eh, you know?
You know?
Like, his toque is just too bubbly.
Jennifer Bassey is Mrs. Loftmore. She's mainly a soap actress. She did a long stint on All My Children. Joe Baker was Jenkins, and this is kind of the tall, lanky, lurch-like butler, I do believe.
Yep.
And he mainly did voices for animation. Michelle Johnson was China. She was in Far Away and Death Becomes Her. David Warner was the Waxwork man. We do get a name for him along the way. Lincoln.
Yeah.
He was really good for the short time he was in the movie. They had to shoot him in like 2 days because of his availability. I mean, he was already a big actor at this point. So availability was small.
Yeah. There are a lot of actors in here who are really good actors, who are also actors who will do anything.
Yeah, that's true. David Warner's got a long pedigree and a long list of credits. We've only actually talked about him twice, though, that I could see. Episode 159.
I missed that one.
That was The Omen.
Oh, yeah?
He was not.
And then episode 230.
He gets killed with glass.
That's right. And then episode 236.
Planet of the Apes.
That's right. Comes up a lot, that one. Eric Brown was James, and he was in Private Lessons and Stepfather 2. Private Lessons is that teen movie you hate, but it's got some, weird hot for teacher thing going on. So you still kind of have to watch it.
There's Jacqueline Bisset in it, I believe.
Yeah, right. Claire Carey was Gemma, and she was in Smoking Aces and was in the short-lived Jericho television series, but I mention it because it was a great series.
It was a great series.
And then I'm going to need some help from Sam because my time ran short here. Buckley Norris was the lecturer.
He was in an episode. He was in episode 41, The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Okay. Dana Ashbrook was Tony.
Not in anything.
All right. Micah Grant, Jonathan.
Oh, actually, Dana Ashbrook was in Twin Peaks. He played Bobby in Twin Peaks.
Okay.
That's who he was.
There you go.
There we go.
Micah Grant.
Yeah, not in anything.
Right. Mihaly Mezzaros. Hans.
Hans? No, not in anything.
Yeah. Hans, that was the
diminutive person.
Person and returns for the sequel. There's a sequel.
He was awesome. I loved him so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't he on a Doors album cover?
Might have been.
Yeah. Jack David Walker was Junior. John Rice Davies is the werewolf.
And he was in episode 341, Firewalker.
That's right. I am shocked that they got him.
I'm not
for such a small part.
Right?
When I was going through his IMDb, I'm like,
he will take anything.
He will do literally anything.
Yeah. I mean, and this was a non-union job too. So, I mean, the paycheck probably wasn't huge, but Miles O'Keefe is Dracula.
Tarzan the Ape Man. We haven't done it and we never will. Never say never.
I do want to do a Tarzan at some point, but there's so many of them now.
There really is.
But not the Bo Derek one.
What's wrong with Yeah, never mind.
I
know what's wrong with the Bo Derek one.
It's got to be one of those episodes where we just talk about Tarzan in general.
But I have no problem watching Greystoke because she gets a little naked in that.
Wasn't Greystoke Andy McDowell?
Was that Greystoke?
No.
That was Greystoke with Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, that's a different one.
There's a different Tarzan.
Yeah, the Tarzan the Ape Man is the one with Bo Derek and Miles O'Keefe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Patrick McNee was Sir Wilfred, who's most famous for being in The Avengers, and he did a Bond movie as well. But
yeah, another one of those actors who would literally take anything that was offered to him.
But I loved when I saw him.
Yeah. Oh, no, I got excited. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, yeah. And
He's having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually in the original Howling as well. Yeah. So it's interesting that there's that connection there because they totally based that werewolf look off the Howling. If it wasn't even the werewolf from the Howling.
Yeah, that was right.
More likely it was literally the werewolf from the Howling.
It's like, we've got bits and pieces that are still left, so let's use it.
Right?
Yeah.
J. Kenneth Campbell was the Marquis de Sade.
Who was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That I didn't write down because I only write down the connections.
Fair enough. And you can tell my time was short this week, so I just didn't get to do it as much as I normally would do it. And you're probably all going, thank God. You spend way too much time on that.
There's sometimes where it's connections and like Sam has said, it's like a fuck you level of casting.
After 400 plus episodes, the connections get longer and longer and longer. So
hell yeah.
But we do it so you can go back and listen to those episodes, right? That's the whole point of that.
Yeah, if this is your first episode and you're enjoying it, we're giving you some tips as where else to go.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, back to Waxwork. Basic premise here, creepy dude invites only six people for a private viewing, because that's all he needs.
That's all he needs.
For what?
Yeah.
Fuck if I know. I watched this whole movie. I'm like, why is he doing any of this?
Well, because he needed these 6 souls to be murdered in order to bring back an ancient evil.
Yeah, but why?
Because he's evil. Isn't that like the only motivation a villain ever needs is because he's evil?
He's evil. He's evil. And I don't even know how any of it works. Like all these weird little pocket dimensions built out of wax. So
what is the evil?
Is the power in the setup of the wax, or is the power the velvet rope?
Yeah, it's hard to tell because the velvet rope, they have to step over it, and there's this cool special effect and like going through water or sideways, and then they're in a magic world.
Yeah.
Where they die.
I think the wax should be kind of key to this. It should be infused with something. I feel that should be important so that it kind of makes sense.
Well, and you got to be careful with this too, because you don't want it to be like House of Wax and use that stuff, because it's got its own thing going there too. And you can certainly say this is inspired by House of Wax.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No, it definitely is. They couldn't get the rights to remake it, so they made their own version of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get the feeling that's what happens with these films.
Yeah. So what happens is the characters will if they cross the rope, they'll move into the settings, and everybody crosses the rope.
Some not voluntarily.
Yeah, sometimes they get pushed, but everybody crosses the rope.
Well, it's necessary.
Right? Yeah. Their first setup was the werewolf setup. I think that was a good one that sets the tone, and you really understand like how this all works. Yeah. Why? You'll never understand, but
we'll fix that.
How, for sure.
Yeah.
And there was actually meant to be the second scene, and Dracula was supposed to be first. But I think
the werewolf
pacing-wise, the werewolf, I think it was the right choice. It's the right tone. It's not too long.
The setup for him to enter the setting is also kind of perfect, because he drops his lighter and he's kind of the bad boy, right? So he's the one who's going to break the rules first, right? So it all worked in terms of setting everything up and as to why he would cross that barrier. Even though I love the fact he says, "I must be drunk. Oh wait, I don't drink anymore." Right? Oh no, you put mushrooms in my drink again. It's like, wait a minute, I don't drink anymore. Right?
Yeah, I mean the disbelief comes off a bit cheesy. There seems to be some influence on the person once they cross over, as they become a character in the setting, right?
Yeah.
But it's not instantaneous either. They're kind of walking in and like, all right. I'm wondering how we do that. I'm wondering if there would be like a virtual reality component that would make them think that is part of the display initially.
See, if we lean a little more into, like you were saying, the Madame Tussauds type museum, where they are interactive displays, they're invited to go into them, and maybe there are animatronic elements to it.
I've been to Madame Tussauds. I'm trying to remember where I was. Probably Vegas.
Yeah, we went to it in Vegas.
Yeah. So I've been to that one a couple of times, and there are some that are behind ropes, but other ones you can just walk right up to to get your picture taken with it and whatnot. Yeah,
so you have more of some of that. And I mean, with animatronics being what they are now, and I don't know, we've now had 3 movies with animatronic monsters, so why not add another one?
Right?
So maybe that's the thing, is it's at first they think it's all animatronic, and then all of a sudden things start to change, right? And it could be a lot more gradual.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you only really need to have like one animatronic one, like when they enter and they're thinking, oh, okay, maybe there is like axe murdering stuff. And I remember that wax museum that I was talking about at the beginning, and there actually being some motion to those.
Yes.
So, the axe coming down on the executioner's axe, and okay. So yeah, we could feasibly do something like that, and they're going, wow, the animatronics on these are amazing.
Yeah, as they get further in and past the scenes that have already happened, as they get to the ones where it hasn't happened yet, then you have that sort of, well, this doesn't feel finished. And they don't know why.
Deeper in.
As they get deeper in, and that's where they get drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have it as well as when they're going in, they think they're just going to a regular museum, but it could be as they get further in, they can't find the way out. They become kind of a maze as things close down and those portals close and you're stuck.
I like the idea of that this museum seems to be bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. As more people get sucked into the displays and new ones are being created and added to by the next people coming through.
I like that a lot. And the beauty of it is if they're entering a display, instead of having this like portal, is like Trish said, is that all of a sudden one person can't find the door for some reason because they're now part of the display and they get stuck in that infinite loop of the display. And that's kind of how the displays work, is they're an infinite loop of these victims' final moments.
No, I like that. So
it's like hauntings and he's making ghosts. So they talk about ghosts being in infinite loops.
Yeah. So if they're trapping their souls in this infinite loop of death, that is like the power source that fuels this magical wax museum.
Yeah.
And as far as trying to recreate an ancient evil, I don't know. That seems dumb, but I guess at the same time you could, I don't know, if you could make it such a big number that, I need a certain amount and then we can call Cthulhu down.
Well, it could just be something as simple as our Waxwork man or Lincoln just wanting some sort of like power that comes from it, right? Be an evil power. Because the idea he was going to remake the world. He does kind of say that he's going to remake the world.
Yeah.
So
he should be the evil. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you can go just straight old fashioned demon harvesting souls.
Yeah, that could work, right?
I think about how Lincoln dies in this and where he's like pushed into the vat of hot wax. I would actually like it because they set the museum on fire trying to burn it down. And I think it would have been cooler to see him melt as if this was a disguise.
Yeah.
Like he himself was wax.
Was wax,
covering up the demon inside.
On this rewatch, I always expected that when he goes into the wax thing, that he wasn't real and he was just wax.
See, that would be really cool. And you could give like little clues to it throughout the whole movie where he scratches his hand and like... Because they didn't use enough wax effects in this movie, in my opinion.
No, I'll give you that. They definitely didn't. It felt like an anthology movie of these mini stories that weren't really well thought out. And I get it. The script was written in 3 days. Like, there's no depth to this whatsoever. No character development. And if we kind of give our characters flaws and things we can utilize, we can tie that into the display to address these weaknesses in these characters.
Which is why China would end up with the Marquis de Sade rather. I mean, the vampire.
Gemma.
No, that's why we want China to end up with Marquis de Sade, right?
Right.
Whereas Gemma would be more to the Dracula or more romantic side of things rather than the sexual.
Oh, yeah.
Flip flop that.
Yeah, right? Flip flop that. I mean, I did like the Marquis de Sade stuff, but I didn't realize that Sarah, Deborah Foreman's character, was a virginal character at all. So when he says, are you upset that this was her first orgasm or whatever? I'm like, okay, this is some really cool stuff. But if you would have told me that at the beginning, this would make a lot more sense to me.
Well, they do set it up. When they leave the first time, Zach's character goes in to kiss her and she's like, no. And he says, oh yeah, sorry, you're the virginal princess kind of thing. He does say it. Yeah. So they do set it up through a single line of dialogue.
Right. Easily forgotten.
Yeah, or missed.
Right?
Yeah, all you do is be like getting a drink and you would have missed it.
Yeah. And that probably happened.
I like the idea of these characters sort of being victim to their weaknesses. But if we're getting rid of the Universal Monsters type characters and going more into sort of the real monster type thing, that's a little harder to do. I mean...
Well, like I said, we can have wings of this where you have the wing of the medieval torturers and the wing of the mass murderers, the serial killers, the real life serial killers, and then we can have the fictional wing and we can do all of that stuff, the movie stuff.
To make it a visual experience for sure.
Yeah, that way we can mix it up a little bit. And again, it's still going to be a bit of an anthology thing, but you can also go like the Cabin in the Woods
Yeah.
too, where you can, even
Yeah.
though they've made their own thing, you know that dude with the razor blade is supposed to be Pinhead, right?
Yeah.
And you can start pulling that a little bit as things escape their displays,
Yeah.
if we even do that.
Well, we
because-
can now. Because now that we've kind of changed the motivation, so it's not him feeding souls to real evils. He's using the cycle of violence, that endless loop of violent death, is what generates the power, not the fact that they're real monsters or real serial killers or whatever type of thing they are.
Yeah, the whole museum seems to be like this gateway into purgatory or even hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
It runs on fear and anguish. The displays choose the people.
Mhm.
That's sort of the idea, because they understand where they belong.
Yes. And then you can do whatever you want with them. I like that. The other thing I'd like to see is they talked about the missing people early on.
Mhm.
And then it would have been really cool to have one of the characters go, "Hey, that guy looks really familiar."
Yes.
Like just that moment of recognition that
You
I've
look
seen him
at-
somewhere before.
Yeah, the cop, when you start looking at the posters, if you take too close of a look about the missing people, they're all the missing people posters from Lost Boys.
Nice.
They literally just went into the prop shop and like, I'll take those.
Hey, if
what
you
you
want
do.
to just use the money, just be efficient.
And that investigation got cut short real quick, but yeah, every character was so likable that when they get sucked into something, even the cop are like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see where the end goes. You're right. I liked it conceptually more than I actually enjoyed the actual viewing of it. But yeah, I didn't get too hung up on what wasn't good about it on this watching, because that's the stuff we were going to fix anyhow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's not a lot here, but it's got such a great concept that I'm like, okay, this is kind of perfect for us, where, we don't have to stick to this script at all.
No, we just
But
take the basic idea.
Yeah, we're just taking the basic beats of the idea and then strengthening them a bit. And I like that the displays are choosing the people so they can exploit their fears and their anxieties and their character flaws.
And just to make that unrelenting torture that much more torturous.
Yeah, well, and the horror is always best when it says something too, right? And if you can tie these displays to character instead of just doing a cool Dracula scene where they're eating people out of soup bowls.
Yes.
Although, I mean, that one room when they were keeping that guy that half his leg was missing that they used to make the soup. That was kind of awesome.
That was kind of awesome.
That was pretty cool. And then you could kind of see she was becoming part of the display because she knew who he was and she was worried about him. She's like, oh no, he's like my darling. And she kind of gets it.
Yeah. So do you want the recipe for the soup, by the way?
No.
No, thank you.
It actually sounds pretty delicious.
What? Oh, the what they actually ate?
Yeah, what they actually ate.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fleshy soup. There was no meat involved at all. It is very vegan. Rhubarb, watermelon, and strawberries.
Makes sense. They're all very red vegetables.
That's right. And fruits.
Sounds delish.
So I'm like, oh, this actually doesn't sound like it would have been too bad to eat.
Right?
Well, that's what you're going to do. If you're going to make your cast eat things, make sure it's something that's not going to make them sick.
Right?
Yes. Yes. I ended up down a rabbit hole of looking up the recipe for steak tartare at a certain point.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly simple, just FYI.
Yeah.
Meat in a bowl.
Well, it's meat, and it is, you have to have really good meat, like kind of a flank steak, a nice steak. You have to cut off all the fat, and then you cut it up. You don't grind it. That's not a good idea. And it's capers and onions and mustard and egg, just the yolk, not the white. And you can decorate with parsley. Yeah, I looked into it.
Oh, all right then. 2 bonus recipes on Invasion of the Remake.
Oh, yeah, and lemon zest. Lemon zest. You have to have
lemon zest. All right.
Lemon juice and zest. So, yeah.
2 recipes. Over 400 episodes, and we've never given you a recipe. And you got 2 this week. Fake steak tartare and real steak tartare.
Covering all the bases, everybody.
What happens when your cast are vegetarians?
Yes.
Yeah, so we got the Dracula scene, the Marquis de Sade scene, which I kind of dug. So I kind of want to keep the Marquis in there as a bit of a connection.
Not at all like that.
No. What's that one movie with Jeffrey Rush It was really good. Quills.
Quills.
Yeah. Quills. Really good movie about the Marquis de Sade.
Yeah, and he was just a really smart man who had a
kink.
He
had a fetish.
And I have an idea for Sarah, as she's the romantic and waiting for true love. You put her in one with Casanova, where he's constantly cheating on her. She gets all the romance, but it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, that's a tough one to turn into a murder scene, though.
No, she kills herself.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. He drives her to suicide. It's not just killing yourself. It's the pain and anguish that the display must endure to get that out of people.
Yeah, see, I think Dracula would... a Dracula-esque type scene works like that. Or even like if we're looking at Ted Bundy, that's what he did, is he seduced his victims.
Ooh, there you go. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, who's the one they used? Oh, I'm trying to remember. Literally, just get the actor who was in that 1984 season of American Horror Story.
I haven't seen that season, so.
What was the killer? It wasn't Son of Sam. It was...
No, it was...
We hear you
Night
all.
Stalker. The Night Stalker.
I was going to say, I can hear everybody shouting at us.
Yeah, it was the Night Stalker. Yeah, just get that
Richard
actor.
Ramirez.
Yeah. Get that actor to do Richard Ramirez again, because he was so goddamn good at it.
Exactly, right? And then he was in the camp one, which he was also very good.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. It was actually a different actor that played him in the H.H. Holmes season. Or the one inspired by H.H. Holmes.
There you go.
Yeah,
He's got
Evan
one of your
Peters
cast
for
members.
H.H. Holmes.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't get very far with my cast, but I kind of wanted to decide what our displays were going to be, so
that does make it better.
Yeah, and then we could just start picking guys off for the displays, because honestly, Teen Beat actor number 5.
Yeah, I mean, because they're college kids in this. At least they're college kids, so you have a little bit of flexibility in the ages.
Yeah, college kids. I watch a lot of action and horror movies, so I don't get a lot of names that stick around, or they're young. So it takes a lot of research for me to find those barely 20-something guys. It's like, oh God, do I have to go into the Teen Wolf cast again?
I did look at one of those guys, and I was like, no, he's used that. And I'm like, do I need to do a Teen Wolf cast? I did do a Wolf adjacent cast.
Who's a contract player at CW?
Right?
Yeah, it is getting harder and harder to cast young actors. And that partly is because Hollywood only does teen TV. They don't do a lot of...
Yeah, I'm just not, because I don't watch that stuff. Yeah. So it's so hard for me to come up with a cast when they're of that age group.
Yeah, it's hard when you sort of age out of a certain genre in a way.
Well, yeah, hard for casting, at least for us, because we're not seeing them as much as we used to.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So generally I'm thinking 4 or 5 in scene displays that, well, I guess 6, because they need 6, but we don't have to do all 6 either.
Well, and because we've changed what we're doing, he doesn't necessarily need 6. Because
no, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
It can be an arbitrary number of our choosing, because he's not I need 6 more to get my power. He's got his power.
Yeah.
He needs it constantly. He's always adding so that he gets more power.
Yeah, this is a business of souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not fussy.
I mean, at some point, though, and I guess that you wouldn't even need the kids to really go to the police, although they should, but there should be a connection to this. All the missing people have gone to this museum. The connections would be pretty easily made that this is the last place they went.
Well, and I was thinking about that as you were saying it. I was thinking you could actually have a really cool opening scene where our waxwork man brings a homeless guy in for dinner. Says, here, come in for a nice warm dinner and all that stuff. And then next time you see him, he's in a display.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to show anything else. Just...
Yeah. That's actually a pretty good cold open, right? Where, you get maybe a janitor cleaning up, and then you're passing this horrible display, and you see the homeless guy that was outside now part of that display.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So not all the missing people are connected necessarily to the waxwork because they don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Ooh. And I just thought of something that might be fun to give some urgency to the characters getting out, is that they've been invited for kind of a pre-show, and that's fine. But he has plans to open it up to everybody for Halloween. So there's so many souls that are coming there of children and parents and everybody else.
Oh, see, maybe this thing moves from town to town to town every year.
Yes, it does.
As a touring attraction, and it just pops up. This building just comes out of nowhere, or the facade of a building.
Yeah, it's his own pocket dimension.
Yeah,
like
that moves from space to space,
or a series of them. I guess
it's the Madame Tussauds Spirit Halloween pop up.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one creepypasta series, but we're slightly different because we're doing a wax museum.
Yeah, no, I like that actually. But I mean, how do you establish that it's something that he does all the time? Like he does.
Well, I mean, I think that's where you could maybe have a character that's tracking them. I mean, the cop character, if you have an investigation of missing people, you won't have this long history.
No, he's an FBI guy
because it's moving around, right?
He's FBI.
Could be an FBI guy. I like the idea of an older guy. You know, they had their Van Helsing character with Sir Wilfred Patrick McNee.
Yeah, who I didn't cast. Oh, well.
I did for a weird reason because I just wanted somebody to kind of tell them what was going on. I thought like that exposition was sort of what we were going to do, but I think it still works. We could still have him as that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like the idea of like an expert. And I mean, you could even take one of the. It's too bad that David Warner's passed on because, yeah, I'd love him to still be in this.
Yeah.
But because he's got so much presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have maybe one of the actors from this, older.
Yeah.
And be that character. That one that has all the knowledge, which is kind of an in-joke because they did it already.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, then it would have to be Deborah Foreman because she loves doing cameos and remakes of her own movies.
That's true. She was in Valley Girl.
Yeah, she was.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, and you could just dress. Oh, I have so many ideas now because you could like dress her up like crazy old lady, wild hair.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, she's insane. She's like, I'm not insane. I was there.
No, I do like that. There we go.
That would actually be interesting if maybe we just keep the remake as kind of a sequel remake.
Yeah.
Or a requel, as they call them now. I like Stealth Remake myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just a nice little like wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Like if her character was named Sarah something and we see the scars on her back from the marquee.
Yeah.
Just to say that, and never acknowledge it, just to say, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Be her.
I'm on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's our privileged character. And then, that's what, as a writer, I would call that the privileged character that knows more stuff than they should.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the only character that has the script to this portion of other people's lives.
Yeah. I've seen so many dramas, and it's usually like a priest or something that has all this knowledge, and then you realize it's the writer or the director who's playing the part.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you really do have the script.
I know
they got the pages.
You don't know. I know something you don't know.
Nobody else that got the sides, at least. Okay, so let's pick our displays. Well, we've done the marquee already in this one, so maybe we can pick up something else.
Well, if we want to lean into the sexuality of China and her overt sexuality, I mean, that's where the marquee worked. But where else could we fit her in for something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, like I want her to be it's not, she's like just all about sex. It's like she's just looking for the next high of sex. Like she's just hungry for experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that aspect of her. So maybe it's not sex this time. Maybe it's something like she's drawn in by like a drug den type of situation.
Yeah, or a rock star display, like you say.
There we go.
Have
Hedonism,
real people.
Yeah, some hedonism, yeah.
70s rock. And she's in Studio 54. Yes, they have a Studio 54 display.
But we got to keep it creepy, not like just
Hey, Studio 54 could have been creepy. Somebody died in the vents trying to get in.
Yeah, but I mean, you want something that's recognizable.
But wasn't there a heavy metal band that was totally into Satanism and
Norwegian band?
Yeah,
like
that's right.
The lead singers,
and they killed
himself, and the friend took his teeth and made a necklace.
Yeah,
no, it's his brains.
Oh, his brains.
Yeah, it was it was some of his brain that they
skull.
Pardon?
I thought it was part of a skull. I thought it was bone.
No,
of
I
some
think
sort.
Sam was right.
I've watched Lords of Chaos and I've watched the actual
okay.
documentary on these events.
I only read an article.
Yeah. Oh no.
Me too.
See Lords of Chaos. It's fun.
I didn't know there was a movie.
Yeah, there is. There's a fictionalized account of it, and then there's an actual documentary, which is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Where's the documentary? I've been looking for it.
And that
Sorry,
would be kind of cool because we'd be pulling rock and roll horror, right?
Yeah.
And pulling those ideas from a real place for this display.
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. And it'd be, if we did stuff like that, we can kind of move around the subgenres of horror as well. That's why I really like the idea of doing H.H. Holmes and this murder hotel of his, because then we could do some weird saw traps.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And I want the display to actually be part of a trap. Like instead of them going in and getting lost, like they're accidentally stand on a trap door.
I still like the magical velvet rope. I don't know.
No, I do like that.
There's this certain cheesiness to it.
No, I hear you. And people breaking the rules. That's the other thing, too.
That's about it.
It's a very
it's the
moral.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the only thing keeping you from touching their displays is this fragile velvet rope you can unhook at any moment.
Or literally step over.
And it falls down just when it wants you to go inside.
Yeah. I can get behind that. Yeah, I like the idea of something like that for China, and you just have to play up their character that she's a hedonist. She's just in it for experiences.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of another wing of our museum.
Okay.
You know Bodyworks?
Yes. You know what? I thought about that when the detective goes into the Dracula display and takes basically a part of China's cheek out. That's exactly what that made me think of.
I like the idea of maybe him investigating, sees one of the victims he's got missing, and sees their face, this flayed person that's on display.
And that's what gets him to step into an environment.
Yeah.
Is seeing a victim that he recognizes from the posters.
Yeah.
Or they just have a very visible deformity, which would be in Bodyworks. That's distinctive, and that's how he knows it's that person, because they don't have skin on in Bodyworks.
No, that's true.
I mean, you could have the removed skin type.
But I would like it, he would be that one that's been multi-bisected, right?
Yeah.
Like you see all the layers of this person in micro layers.
Which does look very cool.
Yeah. So, man, it'd be such a cool visual, too. You're walking up and you see this whole person, then you walk to this side and the optical illusion starts forming.
I literally just saw that illusion done on my Facebook or something social media yesterday.
Yeah. Now, and apply that to a horror scenario.
Yeah.
That'd be quite something.
It would be very much something.
Cool. All right. So we're going to do that for our cop.
Yes. Okay, so we got the cop, we got China.
Okay, so
we got Sarah because we were going to go with the Ted Bundy type thing, the seduction.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
And then we need Mark and Tony.
Okay, so we've gotten a serial killer, couple serial killers. So we could have that one who's that first setup. The H.H. Holmes might be the best for opening setup because
because the only one left was Mark, and he's going to survive till the end. We know this. Yeah. Or will he?
Okay. Did you like the whole I don't believe bit? Does that even work?
No,
it doesn't work with our movie.
No.
It didn't really work with theirs either.
No.
Well, we kind of established that the displays choose them. It's about facing their fear. Like you say, we've talked about their frailties.
Yeah.
And their flaws.
So if they walk into a display that isn't meant for them, it has no power over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and here's the thing, and this was a subtext that I picked up on Mark early on in the film that they kind of lean into a little bit, but not enough. Is Mark feels powerless, which is why he's after China so hard, because his mother won't let him do anything. He's a full-fledged adult. He's over 21 in college, and she won't let him have coffee in the morning.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
right. So I think if we lean into that, and his weakness is the fact that he has no control. Or feels like he has no control over his own life.
Yeah, he'll walk by a display that looks like his mom. You're like, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I don't think we need to be on that that on point for it. But I mean, and that's where the H.H. Holmes almost works because you have no control in a place like that.
Mhm.
But then you don't get any
you're
cool
checking.
kills.
Yeah, you're checking in a place where you're supposed to have trust, and you're staying for a night or two.
Yeah, so it's almost perfect. But then you don't get any cool kills out of it.
Yeah, you need a cool kill
from the H.H. Holmes for sure. So I think that's Tony's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And then I don't know what we're going to do for Mark for the lack of control.
You know what? He could be in this. Just maybe it could be a display about like with a biker gang, and he's like, that's freedom. That's being out and wild.
What if Mark's the one that screws everything up because he's afraid of everything?
Ooh. And he goes into everybody else's displays.
And that's how he pulls them out of their displays. Pulls them he'll run out of the display into another one because he's afraid of everything. There's no psychic walls because he can just
his
walk.
His flaw
in the
is
next
his
thing.
strength.
Yeah. I'm
his flaw is his
totally
strength.
into that.
Yes, please.
I'm totally into that.
Huh. Cool. All right. The more I think about it, I'm like, that's kind of wild.
Yeah. No,
So he can pull a Jason Voorhees into another set.
And then that's where you kind of get your battle royale stuff is as he's pulling these monsters and stuff into other sets. It's like there's that conflict there between the sets.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that far better.
Because the sets don't play well together. They're their own universe.
Our Lincoln guy would be losing his fucking mind.
Because all his hard work is being destroyed by...
And I mean, his order...
by this screaming guy.
he's a very orderly man. He's planned all this stuff out, and the museum is catered to each individual person so they can walk into their displays, and to have this order completely destroying each other.
Yeah, because he didn't account for one thing, the man who fears everything.
Yeah.
I know, I'm totally freaking digging that. And it's a nice twist because he's afraid of everything instead of fearless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's actually like twists that trope on its ear too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one who can mess with this great evil.
Well done, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you.
Yeah, love it.
Stumbled onto something there.
Hey, we get these light bulb moments when we're just talking.
And the best part is he gets his redemption arc too, because in the end he ends up being a hero despite being afraid of everything.
He literally faces every fear.
Yeah, because of it, he is now undone all this stuff. And then that's where we set up our wax man melting because all his power is dissipating. Everything that's holding him together is dissipating.
Yeah, the facade starts falling off of him.
Yeah, there's no intent here. It's pure accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fingers start dropping away.
And you literally see the wax facade start to melt off him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can have your creature moment of him barreling down on this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and he lures him into an exorcist scene.
Yes.
Lures the demon into an exorcist display.
Yeah, because he's so blind with rage, he doesn't realize where he's going.
Yeah, and he literally gets exorcised from his own museum.
And that's where our comedy is.
Yes. Love it.
Weird final conflict, but I mean, you got the chaos of all of the displays and stuff, and that undoes the power of this whole place.
No, and I love it because you just see like Mark just booking it right through that display, passing through, and then your demon, wax demon, hits the wall, and is like, you just see like the look on his face is like, I'm trapped. He's like,
crap.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Now I want to see this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then your museum collapses because you got to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gotta come down.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a haunted house type of movie if it didn't collapse.
Yeah.
And that would be a nice throwback to the 80s
people. Some of the strangers come out who've gone missing, who are like, "What the hell?" Like they're like, "I've been through some shit."
I did like the zombies were black and white.
Yeah.
So you knew it was a nod to Romero.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you can tell this movie was a love story to all these monsters and stuff like that in its own way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so's ours in our own
We're
twisted
just
way.
doing it a little differently and trying to make it feel a little more museum-like, but we've got wings to it. This thing's much bigger now. It's
well, and
we're not limiting it to 18 things.
No, and we're amplifying the horror because we get the chance to show all these horrible things happening and revealing things as it happens. So it moves our story along without feeling like little vignettes.
Yeah, whoever's doing set deck has got their work cut out on this one.
Oh, I guarantee you a lot of it's going to be CGI.
Yeah, that's the one thing. You had like actors who didn't really look all that waxy trying to hold still. It's hard
Perfectly
to stand
still, no.
perfectly
Yeah, there's
still.
ones where you can see like the butcher knife wavering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it's cheap to do, but it's also hard to do.
Yeah.
Oh, a couple times I was looking at them going, that's probably about the 10th take and they're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, if you've ever tried holding your arm out for an extended period of time, it gets tired pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like mad respect to those people who do the human statue.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's who you hire to do those moments.
Right. Finally, the skill that's good, my mom said was useless is coming in handy. I got
Calling all human statues.
got the part. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Mom,
the
you
part.
said I'd never go anywhere, but look at me now.
I get to stand still on film.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are going to have to help me brainstorm my cast because I don't have one because I knew we weren't sticking with anything in this one.
Get rid of that. It's useless.
So we got Deborah Foreman coming back as a person called Sarah that may or not be the character from the first one.
Exactly.
So we're going to do that.
I didn't keep that many because I was not thinking about keeping the monsters anyhow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who would be a really good Lincoln. That was the one I felt was important. And
Can I tell you who I put?
Yeah, of course.
It might tweak your brain. Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
I went with Ray Fiennes.
Yeah. I was thinking older, and I wanted to do British again.
That's why I went with Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes would also be good
Yeah.
because I loved him in the menu. But I was thinking older, like, dude, he was in Game of Thrones. He was like the patriarch of the evil family.
Oh,
yes.
He played, the Lannisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also in Last Action Hero.
Yes.
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance. There you go.
It was popping into my head as she was saying it too.
Charles
Funny.
Dance is my Lincoln.
Okay.
Very nice.
That's the only one I care about. If possible, if we're using characters like from movies and stuff, I want the people to play who played them to do it.
Nice.
Like Kane Hodder in here, he actually was Frankenstein. He was the stunt guy for this film. But, I mean, if you're going to have Jason Voorhees running around, you better have Kane Hodder underneath it.
For sure.
Ideally, yeah.
Ideally.
I can go with the rest of my cast.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I did my usual, actors born after a certain year to kind of get in the right age range. So for my Mark, I was Shamik Moore. You've seen him and stuff.
Nice.
I'm going to take your word for it.
For my Sarah, I went with Bruna Marquezine. I think I'm saying her name right. She recently was one of the leads in Blue Beetle.
Okay, I haven't seen the film yet.
I haven't either, but she had a look I liked, so I went with it because it's a horror movie. Acting skill can be a little iffy, but
for the most part, you're probably going to be casting unknowns. You want kind of stars. It's interesting how they did this. Like they took relative unknowns as their leads, but you had a big star with Warner, and you even had a few stars playing the horror characters.
And that's the way I kind of wanted to go with mine. And you'll see that when I get into my casting of the two displays I cast. For my China, I went with Sydney Sweeney. Again, just a pretty young woman who looks like, who I'm assuming can play hedonism very well. For my Tony, I've been watching him do his stand-up quite a bit lately, and I just would love to see Matt Rife in that role. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's highly entertaining. He works crowd, but he's very irreverent, but not mean. And that's kind of the way I saw Tony's character, is he's just very observational without being cruel about it.
Yeah.
For my Waxwork man, for Lincoln, Ray Fiennes, as I said. For my Inspector Roberts, I went Jackie Earl Haley.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Then I did cast Dracula, even though I didn't want to go with the movie monsters, but I went Colin Firth as Dracula.
Hey, de-aging technology, Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
I mean,
they do.
Like I said, I want the people who did it.
And honestly, with de-aging technology, it makes people look waxy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, my Marquis de Sade, the actor I picked, actually does kind of look kind of fake and waxy. I went with Ian Somerhalder.
Yeah.
Nice.
You'd need some heavy de-aging, but I would still like Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And then for my director, I went with Todd Strauss Schulson, who directed Final Girls.
Nice.
Okay.
Because I like the balance of comedy and horror that he can pull off.
All right.
And that's as far as I went.
Well, I really only did it. I got as far as my director. Time was short this week, but Lee Cronin, who did Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, sweet.
He's a director on the rise, and I think he's quite a visionary director, and I'm pretty good at scripting these things and taking what worked for Evil Dead and making it his own. So I'd like to see what he could do with this kind of property as well. All right, Trish, what do you got?
Okay, well, I kind of played my hand with my director, Scott Derrickson.
Oh,
I liked
yeah,
what he
of
did
course.
In Small Spaces with Black Phone, and then like the supernatural element. I kind of liked what he did there.
Yeah, that makes sense as to who you chose for your Lincoln. So
yeah, that's actually what I actually looked at Derrickson and I'm like, I think I used him for something else we did recently, so I stayed away from him.
Yeah, I hadn't, so I was like, it's my turn now.
Yeah.
And for my mark, I went with Ross Butler, who is in Shazam.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Who did you play in Shazam?
He was one of the Shazams.
Okay.
He was in Riverdale as well, which you haven't seen either.
No.
He's one of, you know what? I think if we
I've seen both Shazams. So just if you told me which one he was.
He's a tall Asian guy.
Okay. Yeah. I'm there now.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for Tony, I went with Alexander Ludwig.
Okay.
He was in, what was it, that Night Teeth one? He was the weirdo at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in Vikings. Yeah, he's done lots of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen Night Teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then China, we need to change her name because I don't think this works anymore, but I went with Andrea Bang.
Oh, you're right.
But I like her in movies, and she has a small part in Fresh, which is really good. So.
Actually, you know what? It kind of works because maybe it's a term of endearment to her circle of friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could or couldn't work. It's one of those ones that's hard to walk. A hard line to walk.
It's edgy. So yeah, the name can change, but that's the actress I want. For Sarah, I went with Elle Fanning because I feel she's got that precious look. For the Waxwork Man, of course, Ethan Hawke. For Hans, I cast Hans, but I didn't do a diminutive actor. I just put Seth Green in there because I thought it would just be funny.
I didn't think about Hans mainly because it's the most iconic part of the movie, even though it's one of the smallest roles.
Yeah.
No pun intended there.
Yeah.
And it's, as far as small actors go, I don't want to go to the one famous one.
I don't want to go to the well
everything.
again, but I could see him being like an Igor type of deal.
I think it's a case of finding a diminutive actor that has the right look, right? And it just is something I've no idea. But I wouldn't want to cast a normal person in there and do the Hobbit thing.
No.
Like there's plenty of good actors out there that are little people, so.
Mm-hmm.
And deserve more roles.
And deserve more roles.
Exactly. Deserve more roles. For the butler, I went with Juna Suotamo. He's Chewie in the new Star Wars because he's the big tall guy.
Yeah.
And then I cast a few people because I didn't really know what we were doing. So the werewolf, Bill Skarsgård.
Okay. I like that.
Count Dracula, Lee Pace.
Okay.
The Marquis de Sade, Robert Carlyle.
Oh, I support that.
I think he could. I think he's got that. He's got something about him. I don't know what it is.
I would, if I didn't get Jeffrey Rush, then I would probably go with a French actor. I have somebody in my head, but it would take some research to go through. But I'd probably want to go French.
And then I cast Sir Wilfrid with Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, I like that.
You could also do him as Frankenstein's monster.
But I mean, in Sinister, he's also the guy who tells Ethan Hawke what's going on. When I'm like, so I could see why I kind of came up with that. I didn't realize it at the time, and now I'm just realizing it.
Well, Scott's going to as well, right? His pool of actors he likes to work with. So It makes sense how you cast it.
Yes.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, I'm going to go with yours because I was unprepared this week.
That is all good. It's all good.
I was busy putting last week's episode together.
Exactly. And I mean, like you say, this movie was it was a big question mark when I was looking at it going like, what do we really want to do? And like the overall waxwork idea. I love the idea of a waxwork museum. It's a creepy, creepy place. No matter what they put in a wax museum, it's still creepy, and I don't know why.
Yeah. No, I think we came up with some really great ideas for this week's episode. Yeah.
The scaredy cat character who saves everybody.
There you go.
Very Scooby-Doo, but that's okay.
I gave up my casting for a genius idea. Yeah. I left room for my brain to work.
There you go. That's the explanation, and we're all sticking to it.
And if you go on IMDb, there is a remake being like it's actually in there, but nobody's attached, no writers, directors, or anything. So
it's in DH.
Yeah. And I mean, while there's still an actor strike going on,
it will remain there.
It will remain there. But man, we gave you some good fodder.
Exactly.
Copyright invasion of the remake, so now you got to come to us to
copyright. Yeah. If you want it written,
we'll write
the
it.
Writers
for
are
you.
fine.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll framework, and then you can get some people to write.
I've written full movie scripts. So I can do that.
We can do it.
Yeah.
We have to have faith in ourselves, guys. We can do it.
Oh, I got the skills. I know how to do it. We've already got our outline, so now we just got to put it together.
Yep.
Just fill in our world.
And I will spend more than 3 days to do it.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other bit. We will spend more time on it.
Granted,
Care will be taken.
we came up with our framework in an hour.
Yes.
So we work fast.
We do. We're efficient.
We're fast and cheap, Hollywood. We're fast and cheap.
Oh, no, don't tell them that. We're reasonable, not cheap.
Put us in the Writers Guild first, and then we can at least fetch scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's probably more than I make now.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
I have cats to feed, guys. I have cats to feed and take care of.
The movie is 6.1 on IMDb.
It's a pretty high rating considering it is pretty sloppy, but it is it's still fun to watch.
I think a lot of people just like they watch it and they go, "Wow, what a neat concept!"
Yeah,
and I think that's what really sells it because it is kind of messy. Budgeted at $3 million, went on to gross a whopping $808,000.
Oh,
that's a shame.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but in 1988, I can guess. That was quite the year for movies. If you're competing in 19, most of the 80s were highly competitive, and I can see this easily getting lost in the shuffle and lasting a week and going direct to video.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw it as a rental. That's how I know.
Yeah, and I think the majority of the audience probably saw it that way. If it had more than one weekend in the theater, I'd be surprised. And even with that kind of money, chances are it was a limited release.
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
And it was also at the end of that particular type of horror. Like that was near the end of the 80s and things were changing for horror again.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that only 2, 3, 4 years. Wow, probably 3 years. And then we had Scream that was changing everything.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right, because that was right in that sort of downturn for horror.
Right? Yeah, horror. Well, you think about it. There's actually is a lot of 90s horror, but it really was. There was a lot less being produced in the 90s, and Scream really kind of pulled it out of its downward spiral because most of the horror coming out were slashers. Everyone was tired of that genre, and then they had no creativity to do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, for every Pet Cemetery, there was another Freddy knockoff or Jason knockoff, and cheaply done too, right? Like
stabby, eek.
Yeah, and very low budget, so you weren't getting quality. And this is fairly quality given.
Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good for its $3 million, low budget, no union. Yeah. And that's probably how they kept their budget down and utilize their dollars more efficiently. I mean, the equipment's expensive, actors tend to be expensive, but if you're going scale, don't have to pay the union dues. It will lower your budget significantly. Although the Teamsters didn't like the idea it was non-union, so they would take mirrors and shine it in the actors' eyes while they were shooting. Like, okay, you guys are dicks.
Yeah.
Like, it might not be union, but what the fuck are you doing there then?
Yeah.
You're still taking the money. Don't be a dick.
Exactly. I mean, that's not the worst thing Teamsters have done, but...
No.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it did fairly well, and I think it should have done better, but it was like they said, it was the end of that type of horror. Like people were just tired of seeing the same. And I didn't verify it, but if it did come out the same year as Monster Squad, you had a lot of similar films coming out at the same time. So... there would definitely be a comparison there, and that was, I mean, even though this one watches kind of PG, some of the gore effects and stuff, there's actually apparently the stuff with the guy at the leg on the table and stuff. Apparently that was way gorier, and just all that got cut because of how gory it was. Yeah, and there's a lot of sexuality in this one. Yeah, Monster Squad was a year before. So I can understand why they would have been in production doing this, and then that came out. They're like, "Oh fuck!" Yeah,
yeah. Well, we can't stop now.
Yeah,
Let's keep going.
Yeah, I can understand why they'd be a little upset about that.
So yeah, there's lots of things that could have caused it to miss out on its audience when it first came out.
Yeah, who knows what that was. But obviously it was a success on home video somewhere because a sequel was made.
Yes.
I have yet to see it. As far as I know, the only thing left was the zombie severed hand. So
Yeah, fun fact, it will automatically start playing once you finish Waxwork on Tubi.
I almost let it roll, but it was getting late.
Yeah, it was like 1:30 in the morning when I finally got finished watching it. So
yeah.
I might add it to my 31 Days of Horror because I've never seen the sequel.
Yeah.
And then I can let you guys know.
Yeah, and as Trish just mentioned, why aren't we doing 31 Days of Horror? Well, we're usually about 2 weeks ahead in our recording. So for us in record time, we're still in October. When this drops, it is November. So look for 31 Days of Horror to start dropping in a week or two because we're still doing it. We're still watching the movies and having a little fun. We only got about a week left in our real time here. In the past, you're hearing us in the future. So yeah, it was the 28th today that we're recording this. So it's only a few days left to Halloween. We're almost done. So you will hear us, might start doing it next week or the week after. We'll see. You might get 31 Days of Horror next week. You might not. What is 31 Days of Horror? 31 Days of Horror is 31 horror movies over 31 days of October that we have never seen before. And we challenge each other every year to do this. And then we come back to you with the results of what we've watched and how we felt about them. And there's always weird little trends. I'm going to let you in on one of my trends right now. Horror comedies don't like me this year.
Oh
no.
Sorry to hear that.
I usually really enjoy the horror comedies. Not this year.
Oh.
Not this year, but we will discuss that in a week or two. That is my trend. It's like every time I've tried, I'm like, this isn't working.
Oh no.
I've had great luck with horror comedies this year, which is also the opposite. Usually the horror comedies usually let me down. So
Yeah.
I took your mojo, Jay.
Yeah, you did. But hey, there's lots of stuff I've enjoyed, and half the fun is finding stuff and seeing if you will enjoy it, and we'll tell you whether we liked it or not. But it's always up to you to find out whether you like it or not. We're never going to agree on what we like and what we don't like, and we're not going to judge each other from what we like and don't like. Well, I mean, three of us might.
Oh no, there's one I know for sure that I liked a lot better than you did this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, you'll find out too, Trish.
See, that's the whole thing. Sometimes it surprises to us as well.
It is. Well, you and I did that once too, where last year you watched something I watched the year before, or a couple years before.
And you liked it, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, The Perfection. Love The Perfection. You did not so much.
I did not. I couldn't. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, variety of reasons.
Yeah, and go listen to the episode and you can find out. See, now there's continuity between the 31 Days of Horror episodes.
There is.
There is. It's complex and vast. All right, well, I think that's it for Waxwork from 1988, but we've got lots more coming soon, 31 Days of Horror to wrap up the horror stuff, and then we're almost into the holidays. Heck, it'll be Thanksgiving in the States while we're doing 31 Days of Horror, and then we'll try to move into the Christmas stuff, and then, my God, it's going to be 2024 before we know it.
Yeah, and it's snowy now, and I don't think it's going to not be snowy for a while.
Yeah, so lots to do. All right, well, if you like this episode, if you like all our episodes, give us a 5-star rating and a short review over on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts, because it helps get more
earballs
on the show. Another way you can support the show is by going to our website,
invasionoftheremake.wixsite.com/podcast.
And over there, you'll find a list of all of our past episodes. You'll also find our 31 Days of Horror lists over there, and a few of your own as well. And go check all that stuff out. We also have a button that'll take you to our TeePublic Store. And over there, you'll find t-shirts, mugs, posters, PPE masks, a whole lot more, including 31 brand new horror designs that Sam has done this year. He went over and above the Call of
He's
Duty this year.
insane.
He is literally
He's incredibly insane.
He's doing these digital trading cards that he did all month long. If you've been following us on our social media, you've seen all of them, or at least most of them. And every day he's been dropping off a trading card every day. And it's kind of a different wave of 7 every week, 7 or 8.
Well, it'll be 9 for Series 4 because
of
days.
Yeah, because it's 31 days of October. So he's got 9 in phase 4. But yeah, they're all great. Go check them out. And now they're up on TeePublic. You can get them as t-shirts, mugs, posters, magnets, stickers. They're going to be cool on a coffee mug. Go check them out. You're going to like something. I mean, it's 31 brand new designs in a month. And hey, Christmas is coming up. We got some Christmas stuff up there too. So go grab a ice cream bunny shirt.
Yeah, our most popular design.
Yeah, Santa Claus versus the ice cream bunny.
Who knew?
Right? A level of insane that came with something beautiful.
Yes, and it's not our only Christmas design there, so go check them out. They're fun designs, and you'll have something cool for the holidays. And it'll look pretty swag on a red hoodie or something, right?
They definitely do.
Yeah, pretty cool. Follow us on our social media, @Invasion Remake on Twitter/X, Invasion of the Remake on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, who knows where else. Well, the ever-changing landscape of social media, it seems to be shifting daily as to what's being used. Yeah, follow us in all those places. Email us, invasionoftheRemake@gmail.com if you want to email us your suggestions, your corrections, and your comments. And of course, those fan challenges, which we'll start getting back to in 2024. If you got an episode idea, a movie you want us to remake, or a comparison you want us to do, let us know, and it could become a future episode, and we'll certainly shout you out for giving us the idea to do it. All right. I'm not sure what next week's going to be yet. Might be 31 Days of Horror. Might be a comparison. We'll find out. So tune in next week. Until then, I've been Jason.
I'm always Sam.
And I continue to be Trish.
And we are out of here.
I know your father was my dearest friend, but you can do nothing to help me.
Jack, you got the wrong guy, man.
Jack! You must run, Jack. As far as you can. The full moon has already arisen. In a few moments, I dare not think what could happen.
It's so cold in here. Why don't I just mosey on out, get some wood? We'll talk.
Too late.